I think every race that we were in was a big deal to me. We didn't want to go into a race or an event and not win. So there's no real race that captures my attention, but Eastern Creek is the biggest event. It was just a memory as an event. It was a thing that I'll never forget.
From the USA comes one of the most hardcore lancers on the planet, the Sierra Enterprises Evo. Built by an ex-Formula Atlantic kart team, it's a masterpiece of engineering.
First time I saw the Sierra Evo was in a magazine. It was D-Sport. And there was this red and black Evo, and I hadn't seen anything like it, and it was exciting. It pulled these feelings from deep inside of me, and it rubbed me the right way, and I knew that car was special. It was one that I cut out of the magazine and put on my school binder, if you will. That car will always stand out to me as one of my favorite time attack cars of all time.
The Yokohama Advan World Time Attack Challenge, presented by Superlap and Wings, was the first event of its kind. It brought together some of the fastest time attack cars from around the globe to battle it out at Eastern Creek Raceway in Sydney, Australia, for the first truly international time attack event. From the USA, Sierra Enterprises answered the call with their Evo 8 Lancer.
After a heartbreaking second place on the first year, they were up in the air about coming back and doing it again. And
that's life. There's ups and downs, there's bumps and ins and outs, and quitting is not an option. Failing is not an option. It's an opportunity to learn something, and you just continue to push forward.
Luckily, the team had enough in them to come back and give it another shot, and they were clearly the team to beat, setting mile-per-hour records on the front straight.
So this could be a huge session, and this is going to be very close between the two cars that are going to cross the finish line first.
Right when they thought they had their money left is when the turbo let go.
Bang, there it goes at the right-hand side. And look at the silver shards bouncing down the racetrack behind it.
And that was the end of that legacy for the Sierra team. Car was pushed into the container, shipped back to the States, parked and never seen again.
So when we came back from Eastern Creek in 11, I said I was done. I still felt the interest had kind of fallen off. There was just so many reasons why it didn't make sense to continue. We had a good run at it, and racing is racing. You know, you take the hand you're dealt and try to make the best of it, and we did that.
The car just disappeared. It was in the main spotlight, one of the fastest in the world, and it was gone. The team was dissolved. There was no clue as to where it was. So many years passed until I was able to meet a guy named Richard Rader, who was the team boss. And I shared stories with him for hours, and he filled me in on the history of the car and the team and where it was at and how I might be able to contact Dennis, the owner. And I did it the next day. I was so eager to see the car and see that piece of history. I reached out to Dennis, and we loaded up the car and headed to Reno, Nevada. Seeing the car in person for the first time exceeded my expectations. The build quality, the attention to detail, every fabricated piece, it was a handcrafted piece of art. The car was exactly as it had been raced. The turbo was still bad. The tires were as they had rolled off the track. The bug splatters. And it's almost like history stood still for a moment, and this little piece was preserved in time attack history. And to see such a legendary piece of equipment with my eyes for the first time, you know, I had all these unanswered questions about how things were built and executed, and even by today's standards, it's still a world-class build. It took a serious amount of talented individuals to put something like this together. I've never seen a more complete shop in-house. I would have loved to have seen it in its heyday. You know, some of the equipment is gone and the dyno's still there, toolboxes are gone. It's not quite the same, but you can get the feel of what that shop was like in its heyday. The Evo is just one piece of the history in there. He's got an airplane that won the Reno Air Race.
At the heyday of Sierra, this place was jammed. I mean, we had airplanes and people and buses and race cars and trucks, and it was just a very busy place.
Whatever the guy does, he goes to win, and he does it right.
It's certainly a big data point in my life, you know, to have been able to participate in it, be able to compete in it, and you know, do okay.
What started as just a trip to go see a car turned into a valuable life lesson, and what I took away from this whole thing was we're all just humans. We make decisions based on emotions and further decisions based off of our experience and where we're at that moment. And this was definitely an emotion-driven sport, and he's an emotion-driven guy. And when the time was up for the Sierra car, it was retired. It was just like that. It's, you know, near the peak of its game, the car was pushed in the container, never to be run again. And that's a hard thing to do. And I respect that a lot. And what he got out of it, he doesn't regret.